Welcome to Lesson 1 on Business Organizations. Today, we'll focus on the duties of partners within a business setting. When partners come together, they aren't just collaborating casually, they have specific fiduciary and contractual obligations that govern their relationship. This means they must act with loyalty, care, and honesty toward each other, ensuring that the business runs smoothly and fairly. These duties are fundamental under business law, guiding how partners must conduct themselves to protect the interests of both the partnership and each individual partner. Understanding these responsibilities is key to maintaining trust and a successful business partnership. A partnership is essentially a voluntary legal agreement where two or more individuals come together to conduct business with the goal of making a profit. Now, there are a few core elements that define this kind of business organization. First, it has to be a voluntary association, meaning all parties willingly decide to form the partnership. Second, management responsibilities are shared among the partners, so decision-making is collaborative. Third, the partners, especially general partners, hold unlimited liability, which means they are personally responsible for the debts and obligations of the business. Finally, profits and losses are shared among the partners, reflecting their joint involvement in the business. These elements are fundamental to understanding how partnerships operate within the framework of business law. Partnership duties are primarily shaped by a combination of uniform acts and the specific laws of the state where the partnership operates. The first key framework to understand is the Uniform Partnership Act, or UPA. This early model statute established basic partnership rules and outlined the core duties partners owe to one another. However, as business practices evolved, many states adopted the Revised Uniform Partnership Act, or RUPA. This modern framework provides clearer guidance on important issues like fiduciary duties, partner dissociation, and the legal status of the partnership as an entity. Additionally, it's important to remember that state-specific partnership statutes and court decisions play a critical role. They can modify, supplement, or interpret these uniform rules, tailoring the governing legal framework to local needs. Altogether, these sources form the legal foundation for how partnerships conduct business and organize their relationships. Now, let's focus on the core principle of fiduciary duty, which is fundamental in business organizations. Fiduciary duty means that each partner in a partnership must prioritize the interests of the partnership above their own personal gain. This is more than just a guideline. It's a trust and an obligation that partners owe to one another. Essentially, it's about acting honestly and in good faith, ensuring that decisions and actions benefit the partnership as a whole rather than individual members. This duty creates the foundation for trust and cooperation within the business relationship. Here we're focusing on the fiduciary standard within business organizations, specifically the duty of loyalty that partners owe to one another and to the partnership itself. Essentially, a partner must always put the partnership's interests ahead of their own personal gain. This means no self-dealing is allowed. A partner can't secretly profit from any transactions that involve the partnership. There are 3 key restrictions to keep in mind. First, no competing businesses. A partner is prohibited from running a rival company that could harm the partnership's success. Second, no usurpation of partnership opportunities. Any business opportunities that rightfully belong to the partnership must not be taken for personal benefit. These principles protect the integrity of the partnership and ensure that all partners act in good faith to support the collective enterprise, which is fundamental under the law of business and business organizations. When we talk about the duty of care for partners, we're really discussing the expectation that each partner acts with practical caution in all their decisions. This means using ordinary prudence, essentially exercising the same level of care that a reasonable person would in similar business situations. It's important to follow the agreement closely, which means adhering to the partnership's terms, procedures, and internal policies whenever you're acting on behalf of the firm. Lastly, partners must avoid gross negligence. Carelessness crosses the line when someone shows a reckless disregard for obvious risks, which can lead to serious breaches of responsibility. So the key takeaway is that partners need to balance caution with responsibility, always keeping the firm's best interests and agreed-upon standards in mind. When we talk about the duty of good faith and fair dealing, it's really about how each partner engages with the partnership and with one another. Every partner is expected to act honestly and fairly, always keeping the partnership's shared interests in mind. This means there should be no hiding information, misrepresenting facts, or manipulating decisions to gain an unfair advantage. Exercising your rights and making decisions should never come at the expense of your fellow partners. At its core, this duty goes beyond just what actions partners take. It emphasizes the manner in which those actions are carried out, with transparency and integrity being essential. This principle ensures that the partnership operates on a foundation of trust and respect, which is vital for long-term success. In any partnership, transparency isn't just a good practice. It's a fundamental obligation. Partners must communicate openly, sharing crucial information before silence turns into a breach of trust. This means financial information like the books, profits, losses, and liabilities need to be accessible to all partners. When it comes to material facts, any significant change that affects the partnership's risk, value, or operations must be disclosed immediately. It's about keeping everyone on the same page to avoid surprises. Additionally, business opportunities related to the firm can't be quietly diverted away. Partners are expected to disclose these potential deals so the partnership can benefit collectively. Lastly, conflicts of interest must be handled with honesty. Any personal interest that could influence decision-making has to be revealed clearly and promptly. This transparency is what keeps the partnership strong and aligned with the law of business and business organizations. When we talk about capital contributions and ownership in a partnership, it's important to understand that contributing money or assets doesn't automatically translate to control over the business. Ownership is really determined by the partnership agreement, not just who invests the most cash. Partners can contribute in various forms, not just money, but also property, services, or any value that everyone agrees upon. This flexibility means profit sharing and ownership percentages can be equal or specially allocated based on the agreement. Moving on to ongoing capital duties, partners have obligations beyond their initial contributions. If there's a shortfall, it creates a responsibility to cover it rather than being ignored. The terms of the capital contributions usually outline how maintenance and additional capital calls are handled. And what happens if a promised contribution isn't fulfilled? A partner may be contractually required to maintain their promised capital, and any additional capital calls often need prior consent or specific authority as laid out in the agreement. If a partner fails to contribute as agreed, they could face liability for the deficiency or other remedies. In summary, while capital sets the structure of the partnership, it's the partnership agreement that ultimately defines each partner's rights and responsibilities. This distinction is fundamental to understanding how ownership and control really work in business organizations. When it comes to partner duties and allocation rules, profits and losses are typically shared equally by default. However, this can vary greatly depending on what the partnership agreement specifies. Without an agreement in place, the law generally assumes equal shares among all partners. There are several common methods for distributing profits and losses. One is based on capital, where the distribution is proportional to each partner's contribution amounts. Another approach is using specific percentages, such as a 60-40 or 70-30 split, which should be clearly stated in the agreement. Participation is another important factor. Sometimes partners who take on active management responsibilities receive a greater share of profits to reflect their additional efforts. Ultimately, these rules are governed by the law of business and business organizations, which sets the framework for how partnerships operate when agreements are absent or ambiguous. Understanding these variations helps partners set clear expectations and avoid conflicts. When it comes to management rights and duties in a partnership, it's important to understand that each partner has a voice in how the business is run. Generally, unless the partnership agreement specifies otherwise, management responsibilities are shared among all partners in the ordinary course of business. This means that decisions are not made by any single partner acting alone. First, partners have voting rights. This means they can vote on important matters that affect the business, ensuring everyone has input into the direction of the partnership. Second, each partner is encouraged to actively participate in key decisions and the day-to-day operations, reinforcing the collaborative nature of the partnership. Third, partners have access to the partnership's records. They can review books, accounts, and other business information to stay informed and ensure transparency. The underlying principle here is that shared authority brings shared accountability. Everyone involved in managing the business must also share responsibility for its outcomes. These management rights and duties are fundamental to how partnerships operate under the law of business and business organizations, promoting fairness, cooperation, and mutual trust among partners. When it comes to partner duties, one of the key responsibilities is the duty to account and provide information. This means that each partner has the right to demand transparency in the normal course of the partnership's affairs. Partners should have access to vital financial records, ensuring they can review accounting statements and partnership tax information as needed. The legal framework supports these rights through inspection rights, duty to account, and information rights. This legal basis ensures that partners can make reasonable demands for information and expect regular reporting. Understanding this balance of transparency and accountability is crucial for maintaining trust and effective management within a partnership. When we talk about partner duties and self-dealing, one of the most important restrictions is that a partner cannot use the partnership for personal gain unless they fully disclose the situation and get informed consent from the other partners. This is crucial to maintaining trust and fairness within the partnership. There are 3 key areas to watch for. First, conflicted transactions. These are deals where one partner benefits at the expense of the partnership. Such actions can harm the overall business and are strictly prohibited without agreement from all partners. Second, taking opportunities means diverting a partnership opportunity for personal advantage. Essentially, a partner can't privately pursue a business chance that rightfully belongs to the partnership. And third, selling assets refers to transferring partnership property without proper approval. Any sale or transfer requires the consent of the partners to protect the partnership's interests. These rules are guided by the law of business and business organizations, ensuring that partners act in good faith and prioritize the partnership's well-being before their own. Now let's focus on the concept of competition and non-compete duties within a partnership. A key point here is that a partner must not compete with the partnership while they remain a member. This duty is crucial because it ensures loyalty and protects the business from internal rivalry. Even after the partnership dissolves, there can be limits that prevent a former partner from exploiting opportunities that belong to the partnership. This principle helps maintain trust and fairness within the business organization, preventing conflicts of interest that could harm the collective enterprise. Loyalty in this context isn't just a moral expectation. It's a legal obligation designed to safeguard the venture's success. When a partner breaches their fiduciary or contractual duties, the law steps in to protect the partnership and ensure fairness. One possible consequence is forced dissolution, where a court may order the partnership to end if the breach is severe enough. Another remedy is awarding damages, allowing the partnership to recover any proven financial losses caused by the breach. Disgorgement is also important. It requires the partner who gained improper profits or benefits to give those up. Additionally, the breaching partner could be removed from management to prevent further harm. Finally, personal liability means that the partner may have to use their own assets to compensate for any damage caused. These remedies ensure that partners act responsibly and maintain trust within the business. When it comes to indemnification and exoneration in partnerships, it's important to understand when a partner is protected and when they are not. A partner can be indemnified or reimbursed for actions taken on behalf of the partnership, as long as those acts are authorized and within the ordinary course of business. For example, if a partner incurs expenses or liabilities while managing partnership. When it comes to partnership agreements, Partners have the flexibility to modify or limit certain duties, but there are important boundaries. They can tailor standards of care and set specific limits on loyalty, making these duties more suited to their unique business needs. However, this freedom isn't unlimited. Critical fiduciary duties, like good faith and fair dealing, can't be completely waived or ignored. These foundational obligations are protected by law, and courts will carefully review any agreement that seems to go too far. Essentially, while partners can customize many aspects of their relationship, they must do so within reasonable, clear, and publicly acceptable limits, ensuring fairness remains at the core of the partnership. When we talk about dispute resolution in partnerships, a well-drafted partnership agreement is crucial. It sets clear guidelines on how disagreements should be handled to prevent the relationship from falling apart. One common method is arbitration, where disputes are resolved privately by an arbitrator rather than in public court. Often, partners are required to try mediation first, which is a facilitated negotiation aimed at reaching a mutual agreement before any lawsuit is filed. Another important feature is the buyout clause, which provides a way for a partner to exit the business if trust breaks down beyond repair. If all else fails, the courts can step in to provide judicial relief to resolve breaches or deadlocks. Ultimately, resolving disputes through open dialogue and agreed-upon processes helps maintain the health and longevity of the partnership. Here we're looking at a case study that illustrates a breach of duty within a business partnership. First, the facts. A business opportunity emerged directly from the partnership's work, but one partner decided to seize that opportunity entirely on their own, without involving the others. This action violates the critical duty of loyalty, as well as the obligation to disclose any important information to the partnership. Legally, the standard is clear. A partner cannot secretly take a partnership opportunity or profit for themselves. When this happens, the consequences are significant. The partner who violated this duty must account for the profits they gained and may also be liable for damages or other equitable remedies. To put it simply, taking a partnership opportunity secretly for personal gain breaches trust and legal duty, and the law requires fairness and transparency to protect all partners involved. To sum up, the key takeaway here is that partner duties are central to defining the partnership firm. Partnership law hinges on the principle that trust isn't just assumed, it must be intentionally established and maintained. First, fiduciary duties are the foundation of partnership law, ensuring each partner acts in the best interest of the whole. Loyalty and care are critical, as they protect the interests of every partner and maintain harmony in the firm. Transparency and full disclosure play a huge role in preventing conflicts before they arise. Partnership agreements themselves tailor the specific duties and rights, allowing partners to define how they work together. Finally, it's important to remember that breaches of these duties are serious and can lead to significant legal consequences. Understanding these points helps us appreciate how the law supports successful and trustworthy business partnerships.